Hi, my name is Sarah Thielen. I'm a horticulturist and landscape designer. And in this segment, we're going to talk about maintaining annual beds. The first thing you want to do is fertilize them, usually right after you plant them. And a lot of the fertilizers you will use are called slow-release fertilizers. One of the first things you need to remember when you are maintaining your annual beds is that if you fertilized right after you planted these annuals, if you used a slow-release fertilizer, then you need to keep fertilizing. At some point, you're going to need to put new fertilizer on, so you should mark that on your calendar or keep that in mind. If you're using something like a liquid fertilizer, then every week or every 2 weeks, you're going to need to be applying that. The next thing would be your mulching that you applied generally when you first planted your annual bed, and this one was planted correctly using a fine mulch and not too deep. That mulch will help keep some of the weeds under control and also help with the moisture content in the soil. The other thing is your water. Keeping water control is a very important part of keeping your annuals healthy. And so it's a constant process of checking your irrigation system to make sure it's giving these plants adequate water, but not too much water. If it gets hotter in the summertime and you have more rain, then that's going to denote how you change your watering system, whether you turn it up or you turn it down. So it's a good idea to constantly be checking your water. The next process in maintaining annuals would be your deadheading. You can also check for diseases as you're deadheading and weeding your beds. Oftentimes, if you find diseases early enough and only 1 or 2 plants has been affected, then you can dig those plants up and move on. Or if all of your plants seem to be getting a disease, then you can catch it early enough that maybe you won't have loss of plants. I do not recommend spraying herbicides around an annual bed like this. You can see that the plants are planted very closely together, and it's very easy to overspray, and then you'll end up killing your annual plants. So you're going to have to get down and actually weed your annual beds. The next step, and probably the most time-consuming step in maintaining your annual beds, are deadheading. What deadheading is, it's removing the spent or faded flowers on your plants. The process of deadheading will help keep your plants blooming. When plants bloom, after they're done blooming, they then put their energy towards seed production. So if you deadhead the plant before the seed production begins, you actually save the plant's energy and redirect it to blooming again. So this is a very important part of maintaining your annuals. So to deadhead something like these pansies that were grown for winter color, you would take your individual stalk. This is a bloom that has been dying and is close to dead, and you would cut the stalk close to the base of where it's actually coming off of the stem. The proper way to deadhead these, something like pansies that have a flower on a stalk, is to kind of come down to where the stalk of the flower meets the stem, and you want to cut at that point kind of down in the foliage so you don't see where you've made that cut. It makes a much more cleaner appearance on the plant. Now, deadheading these spent or faded flowers not only helps with the appearance of the plant, but it will help your plant bloom more. Naturally, when plants flower, it's so that they can make seed and reproduce. If you cut off the spent flower before it starts producing its seed, then you help redirect the plant's energy from making seeds to reflowering. Now you can kind of see how much cleaner that plant looks with it deadheaded, and we have lots of new blooms that are about to open and give lots of color here. Some people believe that if you just prune right up under the flower, then that's adequate, which it is as far as deadheading goes. But if I do that to all of the spent blooms on this plant, it leaves a sort of messy appearance. That's why we want to make sure we get down into the foliage and prune the whole stalk to give it that finished, clean look. Now you know how to keep your annual beds looking beautiful all season long.